Greetings, strangers, queer and pleasant. I'm not Laura Kate Magnet Dale.
And I'm not Jane Aerith Magnet Dale. And welcome to another episode of Queer and Pleasant Strangers.
Us.
It's a podcast. We're two wifey types.
Yeah.
With some queer trans women who talk about media, what has happened in the week and such. How are you doing on this day?
Oh, I'm doing alright. How are you doing?
I have had a rollercoaster couple of days.
You've socialised so hard.
I've socialised very hard, while also being... I've been doing the kind of autistic excitement that, like, is very energising, and then I crash real hard. It's been a few days of the tism has just been... I've been vibrating, and I think that's where all the energy's
Yeah,
gone.
I imagine so. You have much to vibrate about.
We'll get there when we get to
all of that stuff comes in the second half.
in the second half of the show. But yeah, it's been a couple of days.
Well, in the meantime, then, do you want to tell us about something you've played?
Yeah. So some of the things on the list this week are things we've both played, I think. So
hence, nothing of mine is written down.
Yeah.
Because you played all of the things that I've played.
Should we start with maybe the new season of Deep Rock Galactic?
Deep Rock Galactic Season 6, another free season pass is now up.
They continue to add yet more to that game.
Yet more free content, and this feels like it is plot possibly leading into the launch of Rogue Core, which I believe is coming out early this year.
So we got some new mission type. We got a new mission type. We've got
yes.
Find the big gold chunks in the ground and
find the resonite crystals and send them off.
You dig around them a bit so that you've got enough room to then like put some laser things, bolt them on the sides,
some laser rockets on the side,
and they'll sort of drill their way up to the surface via lasers cutting a hole.
Yeah. So you attach like rockets to the side of them. They've got lasers on top so they can clear a path above them. It's quite dramatic.
Yeah,
it's very cool.
It feels like a sibling of the follow the resonance to the crystals mission.
Well, yeah,
but without the here is your sort of Marco Polo system to find them.
Yeah, and I think that does cause some problems because, like the resonance crystals, it is quite large open areas with like lots of tunnels and things. And it is entirely possible to miss something and have to go all the way back.
These are at least at the surface of the ground, unlike the resonance ones where you are having to dig under the ground and you can walk accidentally slightly over them. Here, they're at least like, oh yeah, that's a big.
They are certainly visible once you're close enough.
Yeah,
but I feel like the biggest problem with the resonance scans mission was that you could struggle to find the crystal once you'd sort of got to the location.
Whereas here, it's finding the general location.
Here you don't have the sort of like scanner thing that is telling you how close you are, how hot or cold you are, or how like elevated you are. It's just a case of looking at the map and going, I haven't been there yet. I guess I'll try and find that thing, which in some cases can be quite a ways away.
Yeah.
Which can be a little bit frustrating for, like, backtracking reasons.
Other new stuff this has added some new enemy types, some little scarab bugs that sort of flitter around. The blue,
3 new enemies.
The blue thing that if you attack it, like, runs away and you follow a little crystal trail to a little cave.
Yeah, which is interesting because I managed to find one of those caves before finding the bug.
Yeah.
And it was particularly interesting because I was like, oh, I'll just go out through the little...
I'll leave through the dirt wall.
Little dirt wall, and that'll take me back to the level itself.
Yeah.
But that didn't happen.
Yeah, the cave exists before the little bug exists, but the dirt wall to sort of signify the entrance doesn't exist until the bug goes there.
Which was quite interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have been enjoying the new stuff. I'm getting into... playing it again. I'm liking the new season's colours. There's lots of nice browns. There's a whole new area, the ossuary, which is like a graveyard, a glyphid graveyard, which is weird because I thought the glyphids were bugs and only had exoskeletons, but apparently not. Apparently that's not entirely the case. Yeah, but yeah, enjoying the new seasons. Happy that there's more freebies. Looking forward to more more unlockable stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm also still very excited for Rogue Core when that comes out.
Yeah.
What else have you played?
We've both been playing a game that has made us say some pretty hard to forgive things out loud.
Yes.
We've been playing Space Warlord Baby Trading Simulator.
Yes, by Strange Scaffold.
Yeah. So this is what if in the future there was no need for money anymore, and the only thing that would give the thrill of gambling at this point is playing the stock market, but betting on the potentially good or bad lives of infants.
Yes, everything else has become entirely predictable.
Yeah.
And to a perfect degree, only the lives of the freshly born are able to be sort of considered. It can be simulated, but can't be 100% guaranteed.
Yeah.
So the stock market is now very much about gambling on baby stocks.
I wanna buy stock when the price is low, when little baby Gary's family, their house burns down in a fire. Buy. Oh, little Gary ended up growing up to be the
Emperor of the universe.
Emperor of the universe. Sell. Ooh, public sentiment is turning against the Emperor. Maybe
Short that baby.
Yeah, short that baby. Oh no, he survived the uprising and became Emperor of the Galaxy. Fuck, my shorted position is now screwed.
Yep.
Why did more bad things not happen to that baby?
Yeah, baby, stop having a good time. You
Stop
stupid
having
idiot.
such a good life. I need to short you.
You're ruining me.
Yeah.
This campaign is only 7 days.
Mm-hmm.
And 7 trading days, and you've ruined me with your good time.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to have to get a loan from a loan shark who might kill me.
Yeah. You don't want to fuck with the loan sharks if
No.
you can avoid it, but sometimes it seems like such a guaranteed thing that it's gonna be fine, and then the baby never gets shorted.
Yeah. Deeply concerning.
It is the most a video game could possibly be. Number go up, number go down.
Yes.
Did you correctly vibe check where the number would go up or down?
Did you ever play Space Warlord Organ Trading Simulator?
A little bit, yeah.
I know Conrad got into this for a
Yeah.
while. I didn't know if you'd played much of it.
A little bit, yeah.
I have never played that, so I don't know sort of how the two compare.
I think the theming, the narrative theming here, adds a lot. I think this is a way more approachable way to do it, because, how many, this person's life events couldn't keep going well much longer, right? That whole element makes it feel way more in control than it is.
Right.
But yeah, I'm having fun predicting the downfall of infants.
Or the uprising.
I suppose. Sometimes I want the uprising, often I want them to fail.
To be fair, generally, when I'm just betting on their success, I will have the most success. It is only when I dare to short a baby
Yeah.
that things get so much fucking worse.
I want the baby to do terribly so that I can buy low. I need an early on big batch of failure that I can ride to a wave of success.
No, you see, I buy all of my shares first thing in the trading morning.
You just buy at the opening price.
I buy at the opening price, whatever the opening price is.
Interesting.
I can assume that the day can only get better from there. And generally speaking, that works.
Yeah, okay.
As long as I make sure that... I've had a few babies that have had, really very, static lifespans.
Yeah.
That have done basically nothing, but that is the exception rather than the rule. Generally, most babies will have, an uptick throughout their life. And I'm sure I should be buying more and selling more in smaller increments, but I tend to go, I bought at the start of the day, the baby's life has got to the best it could possibly be in my imagination. I will sell while up here, and generally that has worked quite well for me.
I'm glad it's
I'm
working
not
out
sure
for
that that's how I'm supposed to play it, but the game didn't tell me otherwise, so I haven't stopped.
You play the stock market how you want to play the stock
It's
market.
only when I start getting desperate going, I've only got, silver tier,
Yeah.
And I want to try and get gold tier before the end of this character's campaign. And it's usually like within the last couple of days, I'll decide to short a baby. And it almost invariably goes either horribly fucking wrong, or I've seen that it's starting to go above the short price. Mm-hmm. I am just going to cut my losses this very instant, rather than risk that one time I had a baby go from the family farm burned down to Emperor of the Universe. Well, fuck. And I was like, well, it must be getting to the end of its life. That's what my advisors told me, that its life would be somewhere between here, and it was heading towards there. And I thought, well, now is the nosedive. Yeah. Now is probably a good time to do that. It was not a good time to do that. That baby lived. The problem of getting an advisor who's got like low accuracy is there is so much time for that all to go wrong based on what you thought. To be honest, I think the most powerful advisor is the average.
Yes.
Because you can go, oh, well, it's been really, really shit for ages. So, based on the fact that I know roughly how long this baby's going to live, at some point it is going to have to hit absolutely astronomical figures.
Yeah.
And I am not selling a damn thing until it gets there.
Mm-hmm.
And those ones are usually when I'm having the best day. There is one of the campaigns where the character you're playing is disgraced.
Yeah.
And so, like, day one, you've got, like, perfectly normal advisors. And on day two, the news breaks about the terrible thing your character did. And you're suddenly like, well, no one's willing to advise me. And they don't come back until, like, two days before the end of that character's campaign. So you've got to go basically through with no advisors whatsoever.
Oopsie.
And the advisors that do turn up want twice their usual fee.
Yeah.
Because you're disgraced and aren't that good in the first place. So I was like, you know what, I'm just going to try and do it without them and hope for the best.
How did it go?
I did get through that campaign. I think I only got a bronze. But that character was horrible, so I don't really care. But yeah, it's certainly a thrilling game. It feels like the kind of game that you could hang out, get a bit messy with friends, and scream at a screen while you watch lines go up and down.
Much like betting on Salty Bet, I think you could get some genuine excitement out of a bit of a drinking game of, don't even worry about the in-game scoring mechanics. Who's room for that
chips.
Baby? Yeah.
We've got poker chips.
Yeah, where do we reckon this baby's gonna land? Are we going up? We're going up?
What am I made? What am I made?
So is that all you've played?
The only other thing I've been doing is coding in Pico 8.
Yeah, you have. Do you want to talk about how that's been going?
So there's a problem I've been trying to work through for like a month, and that has mostly been in not practical terms. I've just been sort of sat writing things in Notepad and deleting entire pages and going, that's not right, that's not going to work.
Noodling the problem over.
Realised that what I needed to do was not one thing or the other thing, but two things. And one to offer checks and balances to the other one. And as soon as I managed to not only get that in, but get that in and trust the process. Because the part of the problem is, when you're doing a lot of pick up a thing that is referencing something else, put down a thing, and make sure that all of these things are updating in a way that makes sense.
Yeah.
And will keep track of the thing where they're supposed to be. The big thing becomes, it's a bit difficult for me to read. I don't know if it's just the Pico 8 font, because it's all caps, and pixel art, or if it is just the general complicatedness of something like, socks square brackets player.hold.lock close square brackets .lock equals plugs square brackets mlock dot id. Especially when there's like a dot reference to an object inside the square brackets to say which version of a thing should be looked at. It can get quite complicated. there was another problem that I had had for ages and kept being part of the reason this all kept falling apart. That this time I just went, nah, fuck it, I'm not going to think about that yet. I'm just going to get any part of this working. And I just did that, basically. So at the weekend I managed to get my pick up and drop mechanic working.
Yay!
Which is good, because that is a large chunk of the game. And then for like the last couple of days I've been working on the big problem, which was sometimes a place you can put something down can hold more than one thing. And that meant that I needed to make sure that it was cycling through all the things. And at first I'd been like, what if this socket, instead of just being a normal socket, this one holds an array of things, a table of things, rather than just holding one item.
Yeah.
Can I make that still be a socket the same as all of the other things, where other places you can put stuff, but instead just identify that it's a locker rather than a regular socket, and that it can hold multiple things. And I couldn't work that out, and I went, fuck it, I'm just going to say that there are 4 separate variables, and if a thing can only hold one thing, then that's fine. It will only ever use that one thing. If a thing can hold 3 things or 4 things, then it will use all 4 variables. And that's fine. And so far that seems to be working. I did have to spend a huge amount of time with like some debug printing on screen to try and explain stuff, including, hang on, why does it work when I do it the first time, but the second time I do it, it duplicates something and fucks me over entirely? I think I would never have spotted without having text printed all over my screen. So yeah, I'm enjoying the puzzle solving, and I feel like I'm actually getting somewhere with it. This game might be finished at some point, which is always a tough one for me with coding. The next phase is get the last of the things that you can pick up and put down in, and then the real struggle is going to be events to actually make the game happen, rather than just the mecanics of the game.
Yes.
I feel like I've spent so long working on the mechanics, but I'm making like little notes. A mono-spaced, simple like console font notepad is basically just my favourite thing for writing code on, because I just find it easier to focus on.
The right kind of spacing and such.
Yeah, who knows? My next game might not be on Pico 8, it might be on Picotron. Because Picotron has a different font and is a little bit easier for me to read. Anyway, my little sleepy bean.
I'm a little sleepy bean
You
today.
are a little sleepy bean.
I'm a little cozy bean. I'm cozying up to my little teddy bear wife.
Yeah, hello, I'm a slutty little Ewok.
Yeah, you're a nice little Ewok.
I am a slutty little Ewok. Anyway, have you played anything else?
I have been starting to play through Cairn, which is that climbing a big mountain game. Wobbly legs. This is one of the games that showed at the Accessibility Summer Showcase this past year. You're climbing a big mountain. I'm pretty early in it still, but here's the gist. You're playing as a woman who, I think she's maybe in her 30s or 40s, but she's got like the face of, I've seen 1,000 lifetimes already.
Yeah.
The opening crawl is like a picture of the stars and talking about like, hey, all I want to do is just like fucking reach out and touch the heavens, and I'm going to do that by climbing a mountain that fictionally exists on this version of Earth that no human has ever climbed to the summit of. Many people have died in the process. I think somewhere it said 90 people so far that year had died trying to climb it.
Wow.
And you are determined.
And hence this game is very happy to just watch you fall off the side and crunch into a pile of twiglets.
Yes, but it also has accessibility things. You can like Forza Horizon style rewind back to when you were on the cliff, which I deeply appreciate. Or if you've gone far enough up, you might have put some pinions in the wall so that like, oh, I only fell so far. Yeah. It is a fascinating climbing system because like there are things you can optionally turn on to be like, do a little symbol when I reach onto a point to like confirm, yeah, that's a stable handhold. or you can sort of intuit based on the character's, like, degree of wobbliness. And it'll automatically select which limb to move next based on, where your weight distribution is and, like, what's the thing that's least weight-bearing that you can afford to move next. This must be the most limber human being on the planet, because some of the positions you're able to get your leg into are very...
I don't know, I've seen people on, like, rock walls, and those people are wicked limber.
Yeah, there is some redonkulous leg positioning for climbing up the wall. The default experience is, like, make a little progress, maybe you fail, make a little more progress, like, real slow, incremental, big old journey. There are things you can do for, like, by default, every time you reach a certain point, you'll reach a big enough area, you can set up a tent, and, like, that's where you save. But you can also just set up autosave if you want to autosave, like, anytime you reach solid ground. There's a lot of options for simplifying mechanics if you want it to be a little less unforgiving. But it is what it is at the surface from what I've seen so far. It's like something like, what's the one I'm thinking of? If you play something like Celeste, your narrative is, I'm going to get to the top of the mountain and I'm doing, like, lots of elaborate platforming along the way. This is not that. The mechanics are very...
mountain climbing.
It's very consistently put one limb in front of the next and keep climbing, and maybe occasionally go off the beaten path and be like, this is not progression, but, like...
It's pretty.
It looks interesting over there. I'm going to see over there. As I slowly find out whether I will reach up to the heavens or
die,
be yet another dead body on this unclimbable mountain. And I suspect along my journey find out why I'm so committed to climbing this mountain.
That might kill me.
I'm going to guess that much like Celeste, there's probably some...
Mental health
stuff or some trauma going on. That's
or
like,
both.
Yeah, a little bit of both, maybe. It's a beautiful game. I'm enjoying it a lot so far. I'm not far enough up to have a sense of, like, oh, that's the narrative thing that I'm building towards, necessarily.
Ooh.
But I don't have to think about that right now. I just keep climbing, I'll get there.
Just keep climbing.
Yeah. So that's everything I've played this week that I can talk about.
Well then.
Time for this.
Well, it's been 6 to 12 months since I disappeared from public life.
Yes.
I think I'm ready for my comeback, you know.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, well, they said I was cancelled.
Oh, were you?
Well, I think I don't really understand these modern terminologies, I'll be honest. But it's been 6 to 12 months that I've been sat in my big house with all my money and, you know...
Not performing being famous.
Not performing being famous, and, you know, I do, you know, it gets terribly boring, and, you know, what could one end up falling into? Board games, philanthropy... anything like that, if I were left for too long to be too bored. So I would like to be back in the public eye. So what I'm thinking of is blaming all of my detractors for all of the problems that they say that I've caused, and appearing on a podcast. Do we know any podcasts that might help absolve me?
Oh, there's a list. You can look up the list of cis-het white men who will very confidently tell you did nothing wrong. We've got a whole list of them.
Yes, well, I'll get back to that, because I'm very much looking forward to being back in the public eye, and I think I should be allowed to do that.
Do you think anyone's going to think there should have been consequences before you come back?
There have been consequences. 6 to 12 months have been away.
I suppose 6 to 12 months is a consequence.
6 to 12 months. It's been
deprived of fame for 6 to 12 months.
It's been like prison. It's been like prison, I imagine.
It's been like a large gilded prison.
Absolutely, a large gilded prison with my wife and our dogs, probably.
Am I in the home theatre?
Oh, the home theatre.
Yes.
Hey, Laura.
Yeah?
We've got a new sponsor.
Who's our new sponsor?
Well, do you have a problem with ice? I know I've got a big problem with fucking ice.
I've got a big problem with ice. Like, the last, month or so, I've had increasingly big problems with ice.
Yeah.
It's not to say I wasn't having problems with ice before, but the problem with ice is just getting worse and worse.
The problem with ice is getting worse and worse, and I think what we need is to get rid of it, to abolish it in some way or other.
Some way to abolish ice on my driveway.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that's where this week's sponsor comes in.
Oh.
This week's sponsor is Minneapolis brand de-icer.lol.net.
Oh, tell me more.
Well, it is the strongest grade grit on the market. Perfect if you've got an issue with too much ice on your doorstep.
Oh, I could use some of that grit to get the ice away from my dwelling or domicile.
Yep, it comes with a series of high-powered cannons for firing the grit.
Oh, just absolutely blast away the ice.
Absolutely destroy the ice. Get rid of the ice.
Make the ice feel very unwelcome so that it
The ice
stays
isn't
away.
welcome. It can absolutely fuck off.
Not only
It isn't even getting paid.
Only will that's an odd thing to say about frozen water. The ice, it's not only going to be gone, it won't even be able to come back. We're going to get rid of it so good that it leaves and doesn't come back.
Ever.
Ever.
It doesn't dare show its face again. The ice.
The ice has a face. Are we talking about more than one thing?
Subtext? No. Not on this show. So that's Minneapolis brand de-icer.lol.net. Enter the code Q&PS. Tell them we sent you. They'll sort you out. Fuck ice.
Fuck ice.
So, what have you put in your eyes, or more importantly, your ears?
Yeah, so I'm going to do a little bit of setup to get to this, and some context on my decision to talk about this. So many years ago, in the distant past of 2012, my favourite band of all time, My Chemical Romance, was working on an album. That album did not go well. The band broke up for many years. This was an album called The Paper Kingdom.
It was very depressing.
It's very depressing. The very short version is Welcome to the Black Parade. Hugely successful album on some quite dark and depressing themes. Their follow-up is Danger Days, a very sort of like neon futuristic fight against fascism eclectic genre mix. Doesn't do as well commercially as the Black Parade. Band goes, fuck, have we passed our piece? Have we passed our peak? Let's try and force ourselves to go back to the grand theatrical, very emotionally dark place that the Black Parade was and see if we can like recapture that lightning in a bottle. And they started writing an album about parents grieving their dead children in a support group and the story they were telling themselves to try and cope with their children's deaths. And it was dark and depressing and forced and not good for the band, and they scrapped it and the band broke up. And the band got back together many years later. They are back together now. And in 2022, someone shows up online going, hey, I got that lost album. I've got it. I'm selling it for like £20,000 or whatever. And seemingly someone bought it and then nothing was heard about that again. Over the years, there have been conflicting stories as to what happened. There are some who claim the band's producer, Doug, who died in like 2016, this might have been on his PC that got sold and not properly wiped when he died. There are some people who are saying, no, there was just a hack on Warner Brothers as a studio's systems, and like this was just stolen from their databases. It's very unclear where this music came from. It is clearly not a finished album. They talked about the fact that at one point they'd written up to 26 songs, scattered across, like, they were like, oh, does this end up being a 2 CD thing? It clearly was never a finished album. And then this...
A good chunk of progress had been made.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. Over the years, people assumed it was only like a handful of things, if any, ever got recorded. And then this week, it became apparent at least 17 songs had been recorded to a polished enough point that what seems to have happened is they put together here's some material we've got. If we put it in this order and like kind of did some transitions and gave it a little bit of a polish, would this track list work as an album? And that leaked this week.
It did.
It did indeed just... Quite dramatically just leak onto the internet. And I was umming and ahhing for a couple of days. Do I talk about this? And I'm on the side of the fence of the genie is out of the bottle.
Reddit knew about it.
Yeah, anyone in the MCR community is gonna be aware, and whether you make the decision to listen to it or not, I think it is worth with a bit of a context of, this is not a finished album. I'm going into listening to this with the understanding of, this is unfinished tracks from a project that almost broke the band that I love. This is more a historical curio than anything. I want to talk about the material that is there, because I think it is interesting to document and to, even if you're someone who's deciding not to listen to it, to give you an understanding of, like, what is the material that is in there. So, here is me, track by track, running through quick thoughts a couple of days in on the Paper Kingdoms.
After 9 or 10 listens through the entire album?
After many listens to the entire album. So, first track is the only one that's, like, officially released as a polished recording. Fake Your Death. This was the track that, when the band broke up, the studio released as, like, their last song. At the time, I said it's hard to believe that Fake Your Death wasn't written about the breakup of the band. It feels too perfect for that. Having listened to this track list, there's like 3 or 4 songs you could have released as their last song that would have felt like weirdly prophetic that they'd written them. A lot of these songs, it's like, it's very clear the band could feel something was going south, and that is manifesting in a lot of the music they're writing. The demo for Fake Your Death is very similar to the studio version that originally released. Don't have to talk about that too much. This is the track from the album that released, that leaked like a year ago. It was the one track that was floating around a little while. It is this 6-minute long epic that, much like something like Foundations of Decay, starts with like quite a lengthy instrumental section. It really takes its time getting its build going. It is one of the many repeated tracks on the album that, like, establishes, like, themes and lyricism around childhood innocence clearly to set up the theme that's going to be like, and then we're going to absolutely destroy that and make, we've got to set up something nice to make it miserable after. Which is then when we get into Bike Thief. Lots of the lyrics in Bike Thief feel very gender. And I say this as, like, a trans person who... Look, I don't know how intentional it is, but occasionally MCR will have a lyric like the one in Mama that goes, you should have raised a baby girl, I should have been a better son. Where, like, the trans community will latch onto a line like that.
Yes.
This has a few of those. That girl is not my son. You are not my son, you'll never be my son. There's a few lines in here that I think if this got put into live performance rotation, the transes would be singing very loud. It would be one of those Gerard would stop singing it on stage because he's realised the trans community got this one.
Don't worry, we got you.
Yeah, it's definitely one of my, like, favourite few tracks on this collection of tracks. Starts very dreamy. It kicks into this very dark sound that is undeniably still MCR, but pretty different. The closest thing I can sound-wise compare it to is their early 2000s cover of Morrissey's Jack the Ripper, in that it's got this very, like, snare drum heavy beat driving it. It sound-wise feels like being a person alone on a dark night with something coming after you. But it builds into more of this, like, the later MCR stadium-filling rock sound.
Yeah.
The Jack the Ripper cover never really built into that big grand crescendo, but this adds in those sort of other instruments under the guitar to fill out the sound. It sounds like, lyrically, it's parents reminiscing on, and, like, this is my read, I don't know how intentional this is. To me, it reads like parents reminiscing on and regretting not accepting their trans kid to the point that the kid ran away. And presumably in the theming of this, ran away from home and then ended up dying and going, fuck, maybe we shouldn't have been like that. Pretty heavy from moment one.
Yes.
Like, lyrically, there's a lot of heavy shit going on in this. So then we go to Operation Day. Piano intro to this that I would compare to, like, a late era Linkin Park, on some of the tracks that Linkin Park opened with, like, a keyboard section. Reminded me a lot of that sound-wise. Pretty straightforward lyrically. A parent is rushing their kid on a flight to London for surgery. Sound-wise, it reminds me a lot of... For anyone who saw the Gerard Way solo tour during the Hesitant Alien era. He used to do a bit called that got referred to as Piano Jam. Reminded me a lot sound-wise of Piano Jam. This sort of grand swelling sound, but quite defeatist energy lyrically. It at the start is very much like, I am not gonna be able to put this kid's death off forever. Like, this surgery we're gonna go do, I'm buying time, but I can't put this off forever. I am stuck thinking about all of the things my kid is gonna miss out on in life. One of my favourite vocal deliveries, it is devastating vocally. The emotion put in the performance, superb. There's these violins that cut through the track, that initially are like this sort of slightly haunting sound. As they build, they end up kind of shifting and being the sun breaking through the clouds. As the lyrics start to turn around a little more to hope that, like, hey, let's focus less on that and more maybe parent and child will live to see tomorrow one day at a time. Trying to find that little bit of, if I wake up next to them tomorrow, that's another day I will be pleased about.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try not to take too long doing this, but I got so many thoughts. Falling Down. Electronic track driven by this sort of, like, distant echoing. It feels almost like it's being sung by someone who's, like, falling into the void away from the listener. It eventually builds to this, like, brighter sound in its vocal tone, but it feels almost like going through, like, this is the through the rabbit hole moment. Some of the interviews around this album talked about, like, the idea of the parents distancing themselves from what happened by using this sort of, like, story of metaphor of the kids going off and fighting a witch in the woods.
Yes.
I feel like this might have been, hypothetically, your sort of, we're going through the rabbit hole into the world of fiction moment. It at least would have done well in that kind of position.
Yeah.
Then we've got Birthday Girl. It's got a very toe-tapping bass drum beat, like it's just one foot on the bass drum is your sort of underlying rhythm driving it. Almost big band instrumentation. There's a few places this happens on the album where it, like, brings in bits of brass and stuff unexpectedly.
Yes, yeah.
Like, there's a few places, and this is the first time the album kind of does it, of trying to emulate that, like, marching band sound from Welcome to the Black Parade, but with a brass band in that sort of almost like the band you would get at a circus kind of. I don't know how better to put.
There's a couple of tracks on this album that go sort of band style, and one of them is very much a march, and I think this is one of the two waltzes.
Yeah, waltz is maybe the better way to put this one.
It's got that, like, 3/4 time signature.
Yeah. It's definitely one of the more memorable tracks. It feels like it would be a good credit song to a murder mystery. It's also where you start getting some of the, like, classic rock guitars start creeping in that do some very interesting things later in the album. Dark Cloud, production-wise, one of the most fascinating starts to a track I've heard. This is the one that starts really muffled, and then someone knocks on a door and opens the door and the sound unmuffles and sort of fills more of the space.
Yes.
It's very melancholy and mysterious. The pace is very laid back. Honestly, there's a lot of points in this album where the pace, like, really slows down. The vibe I got is, like, in a world where they did release the version of this that was planned to be, like, a 2 CD, 25-plus track thing, if they were ever going to perform that live back to front, or, like, start to finish, you were gonna need some stop-to-breathe moments built into that. Into that track list. It feels like it serves the purpose of an intermission while explicitly not being an intermission, because there's a much clearer one, like 2 or 3 tracks later.
Yes.
But it's a place that feels like a breathing moment in the album. Then we get Wake Up. This is the one that's very classic rock meets Britpop. It's the one we both at one point wanted to go park life.
Yes.
At the beginning of, like, the opening really, really wants you to park life it.
Yes.
It's got heavy distortion with these very classically played guitars. the whole song feels like it's played through like quite a fuzzy amp. Quite bouncy. It's very rock and roll rock. Yeah, it's definitely one of the more unique tracks on there.
Yeah, and weirdly, I think we talked about the sounds on this album. Like, some of it sounds a bit Britpoppy, some of it sounds like almost 1970s minimalist electro.
Yeah.
Like Dawn of Electro. There's very little that sounds, I would say, like anything off of any of MCR's first two albums, like the sounds that they might have originally got famous for.
I was going to say this at the end, but this is maybe a good place for this discussion. The way that this album got talked about by the band, I expected it to play it much safer on the quote-unquote classic MCR sound, specifically like trying to emulate the Black Parade in sound. I didn't expect it to, like, this reminds me a lot more of Danger Days. Not in, obviously, like, you know, Danger Days is like laser sound synths and whatnot, but in the eclectic genre variety being played with. Like, this feels like, for any of the problems the band were having at the time, it does feel like they weren't afraid to experiment and to, even while trying to force themselves into a box, they could not help fucking around with genres.
Yeah.
And it is the thing I've always loved about this band. It pains me that more people don't like Danger Days, in that I think this band is at its best when they are, like, continually taking that core of themselves and reinventing it through these different lenses.
Yes.
There is something really magical about the way they can make songs that sound undeniably like MCR, that also sound like nothing they've done before. But yes, other tracks. Louder. Lyrically talks a lot about, like, it feels like an astronaut alone in space who can't get home, lyrically. This sort of, whatever is going on, I am distant, I'm reaching out, there is no one that I can reach to, I just kind of have to be okay floating here, not being able to change my situation. Starts with this, like, bass drum beat and very gentle synth only. Very slow build, very sort of nostalgic sounds, very gentle wafting. This is the one that builds into that big band brass circus march. It's definitely a sibling to the Black Parade's drum roll, but with more of a veneer of fun over its instruction to march. Like, the more I listen to this, it sings a lot about trying, like, don't worry children, and alluding to bombs. It really has the veneer, the more I listen to it, of, like, children, happy smiles on our faces, don't panic, we know that the bombs are going to drop, and we're trying not to make you panic as we march you off to the bomb shelters. It feels very much like, this is fun, this is a game, don't think about the horrors going on outside. Narita Airport. This is like the true interlude track of the piece. Lounge piano with a sort of guitar being lightly played, but like the strings are being wobbled enough to give it this sort of pitch bent sound, making it sound very otherworldly.
Yes. It's got a real dreamy quality to it.
It's really leaning into that sort of liminal space quality, as it sort of just hangs there. Then we get to the only other track on this that is officially released, even if only in live performance form. The War Beneath the Rain. I'm really glad there's a studio recording of this, because
you've been asking for this for a while.
I've been asking, like, since
Sisters to Slave.
Yeah, since they played this live at a tour date last year, I've been going, please give us a recorded version of it, because it sounds really interesting. But because of the sort of, like, a lot of the effects they're choosing to use doesn't pick up well on a phone mic. And it's made it very hard to hear what is being sung about. This much clearer studio recording might be my favourite thing on the album. If this had been, like, if this had been, like, a lead single, I think it would have done very well. I think it would have resonated very well with classic fans of the band. It feels the closest to being, like, a finished song that could have been a radio single out of the demos in this collection. It's the one that feels like it's had the most passes to get it to where it's going to get to. it has that sort of Welcome to the Black Parade style gentle sections that kick fast into stadium-filling rock. Continues this theme that the last track had of, like, bombs falling. Part of me thinks... This has a lot of similarities with Foundations of Decay, in terms of it being, like, this 6-minute long, going through multiple phases and genres, quite personally led lyrically song. I feel like in a world where they hadn't written Foundations of Decay, this could have been that we've come back and we're playing. Like, this could have been that track they come back with, and I think it would have filled a very similar position.
Yes.
Really straddles the old and new MCR sounds. It is... I can see why this is the one they chose to go, let's practice it and bring this one from that album back. It is a real standout. Last few. Paper Swords. Opens with, like, very whispered vocals and this drum beat that is very much trying to emulate like a gentle heartbeat. From the context of the lyrics of the previous songs, it feels like trying to hide and not be found in the aftermath of some disaster. It eventually builds big and grand in its defiance before dropping back down. A lot of the tracks on this album do this, of, like, really big build, drop down to quiet, really big build, drop down to quiet. This is one of those tracks that, fascinatingly, has connections to the promotional material they were doing for their original reunion tour. There is a video called A Summoning, where a bunch of hooded figures do some weird ritual in the woods and do a little magic thing in the woods, and then they announce a Milton Keynes tour date. People thought at the time, is this new MCR music? Because there's this voice going, I say, Akea, I say, Akea, that sounds a lot like it might be Gerard Way. We now have confirmation that is the case, because that shows up in the latter portion of Paper Swords. Underneath, it's not nearly as clear in front and centre, it's underneath some other lyrical lines.
Yeah.
But it's fascinating, because this is the second time that during the promotion for that tour they used material from the Paper Kingdoms, because they used a portion, one of their teaser videos for that tour used a portion of the song Witch. So clearly at some point, at the very least, someone at Warner Brothers was, like, pretty okay with digging into this material and putting bits of it out there in different forms. That's one of the things I'm most fascinated about with this. Is there's a couple of other examples that, like, A Summoning is the clearest one to point to, of, oh, you went in and found the stems or the recording sessions for that scrapped album and made use of them in places. And that's really interesting. You clearly kept a hold of them to do something with.
Yeah.
Does make me wonder, will we ever see some kind of official collection of this? I'd be very curious to hear, maybe giving them a proper mastering pass the way they did with Fake Your Death, for example. But yes, Paper Swords. The way that it ends is very, like, Famous Last Words style Defiance, but with a bit of a brighter sound. Burn down the ruler's castle and never let us die. That kind of, fuck yeah, we're not gonna let the world defeat us kind of energy.
Never.
Last couple. Dive. Opens with, a voicemail being left by a child and a parent to sort of set tone. It's got this echoing ambience like being in, like, the room of a huge swimming pool. That just sort of very specific kind of echoing to the sound. It reminded me a lot of the track Falling Down from earlier in the album, but more deliberate and invitational to join in the falling away. The more I've listened to it, the more I've come to understand this track. This track feels like it is tackling, heads up for heavy themes here, sexual abuse. It feels like is being tackled in this song. Being invited into a place under the pretense of it is not as scary to, to use the metaphor, not as scary, the water's not as scary to get into as you expect. The chlorine will clean you, but is there more in the water than you were anticipating? It is a trying to make something very scary, someone inviting you into a bad situation and trying to make it sound less bad than it's going to be.
Yeah.
It is a fascinating song that the more I've heard it, the more I've gone, oh, God, that is fucking devastating.
Mm.
It is shaken up a lot of stuff, and I've gone, I can see why you wouldn't want to necessarily be performing that night after night.
Yeah.
Like, that's a heavy one.
Mm-hmm.
High Hopes. Nice one to follow it up with. Audio-wise, reminded me a lot of Summertime off of Danger Days. Slightly 80s hippie sounds to its vibe. It is the antithesis to Operation Day right at the start of the album, and I think like it's about as close to the end as that was to the start. This album's framing really feels like they were trying to mirror things. The more I think about it, the track listing has a lot of like the same place on either side of the album is like a direct callback or antithesis to its mirror.
There's lots of reprise stuff.
Yeah.
It feels like it's following itself up.
Yeah.
Closing itself into a nice little bun.
Yeah. High Hopes, clearly the antithesis to Operation Day. It is the character, I'm presuming the parent, feeling hopeful for the future despite the sorrow. It's the true moment that the light breaks through the dark cloud. The moment of hope in this largely dark album. It's really bright, it's really hopeful, I really love it. It's a very charge up your soul, feel better about the world kind of tune. Last couple, Dogs, very heavy, dark electronic. It feels like a sort of closing up shop, it's time to go home ending, which is weird because it's not the last track of the album. It almost feels like there is a night out we sometimes go to that will change the vibe of the music in the last half hour to be like, we're getting you ready for the fact it's nearly time to leave. This feels like that. It's when this track comes on, you know you've got, you can enjoy it for a minute, but we're nearly out the door. In the latter half, it does pick up and start to feel like a bit more of a crescendo than a gentle ushering away. Calls back to Witch. This is the penultimate track. Witch was the second track. It calls back to Witch. And then Perfectly Well. The album ends on this just vocal and piano and a little bit of accordion. Feels very stripped down. Lyrically feels very defeated, which is interesting given its placement after the very sort of cheerful High Hopes. It feels... The way that I feel about it narratively as I'm trying to process, like, the story that this version of the tracklist sort of suggests, it opened with, like, Operation Day, flying out to London to try and do this operation, unclear whether it was going to help. Perfectly Well ends... it sings explicitly about coming to terms with things on a rainy morning in London, and it feels like what may have happened is flew out to London, got that operation, it didn't ultimately save the child. I've gone through my journey, I need to be okay to keep moving on past this terrible thing that is happening. I can't hide away from it in the metaphors we've been using, I do just have to acknowledge I am here on this cold, rainy day in London, and this is what it is. It's a bleak place to end it. It's a beautiful track, but it is, in the context of the whole piece, it is a deathly somber place to end that album. There are some absolutely beautiful songs on this album. I can understand why working on this was not a positive experience for that band. I think I can separate. I think there is some brilliant music in here, some of the best work this band has done, and also I understand not wanting this to be something that you officially release and go, well, now that this album of material is out there, people will be asking for us to play it at shows. In the way that, like, Conventional Weapons exists as, like, here's a bunch of scrap songs that we did polish up and we put out, and it's not officially an album, but people now kind of expect that might be material we might play live sometimes. As glad as I am to have heard this, I fully understand if they never officially publish any of this.
Yeah.
Because of that very... Now the expectation exists that this is officially part of our discography, that we might be pushed to play. They seem okay with playing War Beneath the Rain. They've played it a couple of times live now. I would love to see that officially released, just because if they're happy to play it, I would love to have an official version of it to listen to. You know, I think it would be a great track to have out there.
Yeah.
I would never badger the band to release any of these because I can see the places where this tore them. Fascinating album, genuinely unexpected moment in music history.
Yeah.
I hope that at some point in the future they create more material that they are happy with and release a future release of some kind.
Mm-hmm.
It would be great to have a new album from them that they are happy with. I do not blame them for not wanting to put this out.
Fair.
Yeah. So yeah, that's The Paper Kingdoms. A very interesting listen that... Yeah, I have to respect that was not the piece of art they needed to be making at the time they made it.
No.
What about you? What have you put in your eyes or ears this week?
We have been watching Starfleet Academy, the new Star Trek series.
Oh, that new episode.
Oh, yes. It's quite funny because I saw people talking about episode 3 and saying that it is really the series coming into its own, but I think this one even more so.
Yeah, this was... I've been enjoying them all so far.
Oh, yeah,
This
definitely.
is the episode that I think if someone had watched episode 1 and went, I'm not sure if this is for me, this doesn't feel Star Trek-y enough for me, I would say, don't worry about 2 or 3, skip to episode 4, give that a try.
Yeah.
I think this is the episode that would most convince Trekkies who've been a bit on the fence that this Star Trek has something to offer them.
Yeah.
Is that a good way to put it?
I agree. Also, I'm tired of trying to convince anyone of any value in Star Trek these days.
I agree.
The kind of people who want to hate Star Trek are going to keep doing so, and they can be quiet about it somewhere else. I'm really enjoying the series. I think the characters are really interesting. I appreciate a 422-year-old captain who sits bisexually and a gay couple, one of whom is a half Jem'Hadar, half Klingon. I think they're still amazing together.
Yeah. Episode 4 was real good politically. It was very politically...
So was episode 3.
Well, yeah, but I mean, it was politically... It was politically messy in a way I enjoyed.
Yes.
Its use of, I am going to have a character kind of arguably against their best interests in a way that created this beautiful tension in the episode. It was good.
It was. It's very good.
Yeah.
Well acted. Well done, everyone involved.
Yeah.
And felt like a very modern take on a classic Klingon story.
Yeah. It reminded me, like, vibe-wise of your classic... Like, this could go alongside episodes like The Measure of a Man.
Yeah.
In terms of those...
The drumhead.
Yeah. Really just sticking with a character and their perspective and they're sitting with their position a while.
Yes.
Oh, it was a good one.
Oh, yes. Very good indeed. Yeah, very much enjoying the series so far, and I look forward to seeing more. What else have you been watching?
Not putting a lot in my eyes this week. It's certainly not putting a lot in my ears. It's been MCR.
Oh, you've done some more Bridge Command?
Yeah. Well,
a bunch more Bridge Command?
We did some together.
We did.
We did
got new medals.
Yeah, we did. We did a mission together that we both got the medal at Bridge Command that neither of us thought we would ever get.
Yes.
The intelligence medal.
Yes, because usually it means you have to do something terrible and give intelligence to, or give information to people who might use it poorly.
Yes. Military intelligence in Bridge Command are historically pretty secretive and give off the vibes of, do I hand over technology to them and trust them not to turn it into a horrible weapon or something?
Indeed. So generally, we've always avoided that.
Yeah.
And therefore missed every chance we'd had of ever getting the intelligence medal.
Yeah.
But I think, just like something you said about something behind the scenes about engineers,
Yeah.
I feel like the staff are starting to get a hint of how more people want to play.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it's not an entire stretch that most of the people who are playing don't want to have anything to do with possibly corrupt military insurance.
I don't know. If you talk to any of the, like, my favourite mission type is military people.
Oh, yeah.
They fucking love handing shit over to military intelligence. Those types more than happily will be like, oh, the data pad with the secret location of blank? Yeah, of course I know that they asked us not to hand it over to intelligence, but I'm gonna do it.
I signed a contract to say that I would never hand over that data, so I will never hand over that data.
Right, same here.
I didn't even need the contract. I wouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
It's fucking intelligence.
We did a mission that ultimately was diplomatic, and we rescued a person who had intelligence, had information, and therefore, discretion of flight controller might have been like, this is an intelligence win. Have the intelligence medal despite not having handed anything over to military intelligence.
I think it was interesting as well because it's a mission that we have both done before. In fact, it was our very first mission.
Yeah. Yes.
And I was in the same position. We were on the same ship.
Yeah.
So it was kind of fascinating to revisit it.
It was a very different version.
It was. And like they even mentioned during the debrief that a lot of you probably would have seen the start of this before, but hopefully the end was different enough for you. And it was so different.
We both went in like, oh, it's this one. Oh, we really thought there's only 4 of us, and none of the 4 have done this other mission. We really thought we'd get to do a new one. Oh, we basically did a new one.
We very much did a new one.
And I really liked how they really twisted that mission halfway through.
Mm-hmm.
Gave us an opportunity to interact with a character we so rarely get to interact with, played by a very good performer.
Yes.
I got to have a cool little hero moment at the end. I was very proud of,
as the captain should.
I think I did well given the the people are about to walk away from the situation. No, comms, get them back on the phone. I want to try and have a moment.
And you did.
Well, we're leaving. What do you want? I want to convince you of morals.
And also to let you know that I've done some things, I've seen some things that no one else
I've seen some things, I got some unique background, maybe we collab a little. I was very happy with how that mission turned out.
And then you went and did a day of learning to do interactive theatre improv.
Indeed. I sure did do a lot of exercises that tested my ability to be aware not only of where other people in a scene were, but also how is the audience responding to the material, and do you need to react to that? As a person who is not good at reading other people non-verbally, it sure was a day that put my, hey, intuit how they're experiencing things skills to the test.
That sounds terrifying.
It was terrifying. I was pretty drained. It was a good time, but I did come home very fucking sleepy.
Immediately pass out.
Yeah.
Had to be shaken awake to go and stream. And then it was like, no more.
I used up all of my social battery and then a bit more.
You did.
No
spoons left, only forks.
No. It was a good, interesting time. Very insightful. I could not do that like back-to-back days. That was a lot. There's a lot of me that had to be put out there to do that.
I'd love to learn improv, mainly comedy improv, but how much is that course?
So they're doing a version of it that is going to be like an 8-hour thing for £200, I think.
That's pretty reasonable for an intensive day course.
So I was talking to them about what they're planning. They're planning like a full 8-hour version that's like £200. They're also planning one that's less to do with improv and more to do with writing, of how they write their campaign, like their mission material. Yeah. They've got like a whole little set of them planned, but they're going to be like £200 for like a whole day thing.
Nice.
I can certainly see the skill on show that they got a lot of good teaching potential there. It was a lot of putting myself out there being there. Yeah. It was a lot of push me out.
Yeah.
I did my best.
Yeah, I'm sure you did wonderfully, dear.
I did my best.
I bet you did wonderfully, dear.
So is that everything we've put in our eyes or ears this week?
I believe so.
Well then, time for this.
Inside the boardroom of Supremacy Software.
Hi.
Hi. You don't look good, man.
No, I'm not good.
Right.
I'm in a little bit of trouble,
Again?
and I need you not to ask too many questions.
Okay. Well, can I ask who we're blaming it on?
Not blaming it on. We're just
Right.
gonna bury it.
Right.
So, I can tell you this.
DLC.
I need us to add a bunch of features to the game that are lists. I need us to add a bunch of lists to the game.
Right.
Because I need it to be so if you Google my name and list,
Right.
our new features will show up and not any other list I might be on.
Right.
So, I got some ideas for you. A menu option that lets you list your lifetime kill data in game. Like, you can see every...
We already have that.
Yeah, but I don't think it's called a list. We gotta use the word list for it.
Right.
Your
right.
kill streak list is now a new menu option.
Okay, what about when you start playing Call of Duty, you enlist?
Well, if we put like a hyphen, maybe the word list by itself has to happen.
Right.
So maybe we put a N space list, and now that might work.
Right.
Maybe a thing where like you can list some basic facts and data about the other players you shot online. You can list out that data.
Right. I'm concerned.
Don't even worry about it. Don't even worry about it.
I mean, because the only public consciousness...
No, because no.
I mean, I would fucking hope not.
Well, no. Don't even worry about it.
Well, yeah, but I am.
Don't even. Well, how's about this for an idea? How's about this? What if we had some kind of list in the game? There was like a list of the names of everyone who worked on the game in some sort of like accreditation list.
That's called the credits, and we have been fighting against that for decades.
Well, maybe I like the idea now if we call it a list.
I don't like the idea of you working here anymore, I'll be honest. I think it's time I ran this place on my own.
I'm good at making us money.
Some things are more important than money. Oh God, I can't believe I said that. Oh God. My parents are gonna kill me. Yeah, but no. I say, this original content has gone viral on our platform.
Oh, yes, is that so?
Yes, many people seem to be watching it, and of course the adverts that we've been putting around it, like automatically playing adverts right after it and so forth. I suppose it certainly brought some eyes and some traction, and I'm very happy about that. You know, that's making us a lot of money.
Well, it is, but I suppose that means we're going to have to pay the creator, right?
Oh, God, this bloody fund paying creators. I mean, I know we wanted people to dedicate their entire lives to us.
Yeah.
And I know we couldn't just have them, you know, performing and putting stuff out, and we eventually had to agree to pay them because otherwise they wouldn't have time to make all the content we wanted them to make. But is there any way we could claim that this is unoriginal content and therefore doesn't count?
I mean, you say that as if we have to give a reason to do that. Like, we have to have a reason to justification. We could just do it.
Well, when we put strikes on people's accounts, which I think is what we should probably do here, you give us all of your hard work and effort, and we'll give you bug all in return. Apart from, you know, the satisfaction of hundreds of eyes on your content.
Yes. Violated nondescript terms of service. There we go.
Nondescript terms of service.
Bam.
Unoriginal content.
Unoriginal content basically means they stole the idea from somewhere. They don't even deserve the money. We deserve the money.
Indeed. And as this is the second time they've done it, and of course we've replaced all of our customer service people with bots now, so there's absolutely no way they can come back to us.
Oh, yes,
We're very clever, aren't we?
Oh, we are very clever,
Very
clever.
Do you know what I want to see more of?
What do you want to see more of?
Racial Justice Warriors.
Racial Justice Warriors?
Yeah.
All right, Larry.
All right, Mary.
How you doing?
Oh, same old mate, same old. You been up to much?
Yeah. I've been doing that thing where I don't ever want to say, not even a nice thing. I don't ever want to fight against negative things being said about Donald Trump. But I've recently been in that awkward position of, in order to not be shitty generally, do I have to say something here?
Oh, is this the typical, a certain type of person has decided that they are going to latch on to a physical thing or a disability or a personal problem that they have no way of fixing just because they're a terrible person?
Yes. So it's classically we've seen it with rather than people pointing out Trump's terrible policies that are hurting people, going ha ha ha, orange fat man is fat with tiny hands or whatever. There's a new one that's been a thing for a while, but it is growing in frequency, and I've been feeling mixed ways about it, which is the increasing amount of pretty sure Trump shit himself in this clip videos doing the rounds.
Yeah, I know that there have been comments from various people, world leaders and politicians and diplomats and so forth, that have said that he does have quite a terrible smell about him on occasion.
Indeed, and that whether that is or is not the case, I feel real conflicted about potential incontinence being a thing that we're going to make fun of.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's basically the same conversation we had when, it was, he's fat with tiny hands was coming up. It's like, look, there are probably people in your life who, might be fat.
Me? I am fat.
Who get caught in the crossfire. And I think, this is, a step beyond that. This is a thing that is if this is going on, even if
it's a medical thing that comes to many people later in life.
Indeed, and for various reasons, and that can be quite embarrassing or shameful to deal with.
Yeah.
That is not an easy thing to talk about.
No.
I know some people for whom that is a thing, and it is weird the glee with which some people are going, ha ha ha. This is our moment this proves he's not fit to be president because this. And I'm like, you know what? There are plenty of people on this planet who I'm like, I would much rather insert person be a world leader, continents or not. That is not a decider of whether a person is a good leader. Donald Trump is not a good leader because he is simply an evil man incapable of passing basic cognitive tests that should not be making major decisions about global world power.
Yeah.
Who is far
Also,
too willing to...
person.
He's a horrible person who will completely ignore existing laws and just storm forward doing his evil agenda, not caring that it's illegal and just all being confident that no one will stop him. Maybe we talk about that and not go, ha ha ha, well, I proved he shouldn't be president. He might have done a bit of a shit. It's like, that's... Fuck off with that, right? That's not the way to... That's not what we do.
No. It certainly shouldn't be.
Right.
Fancy hug, mate.
Oh, yeah.
Good hug, mate. Good hug.
Good hug.
Right. I'm going to go and have a little lie down.
That sounds lovely.
Nice. So, Laura,
Yes?
before you do a big honk and a big shoe.
Oh, I'm going to honk so many shoes.
You are, but first, before that, where people find you on the internet?
People can find me on the internet at Laura K. Buzz pretty much everywhere. Patreon, that's the one that pays the bills. As little as $1 a month over there allows me to keep doing all this full time. But even if not, a free subscription over there allows you to get little emails every time I post stuff. It's worth doing. It's a good place to find me. you can go to YouTube and see a bunch of autistic info dump content I've been doing recently, including Laura plays train sim on a real train.
Yeah.
A video about the Paper Kingdom album that was released about 2 weeks ago, going, here's the deal with the Paper Kingdom.
Yeah.
And what that is and what's up with it. Miraculously timed on my part. Could not have made that
we
video.
We have to leak it now.
We gotta leak it now.
Laura talked about it.
Yeah, Laura's explained it. Fine, we'll put it out. Or the 90-minute video I put out talking about MCR's album Danger Days and breaking down the lyrical content to explain the concept album narrative going on in that album.
Mm-hmm.
I'm real happy with that video. I hope people enjoy it. Laura K. Buzz, that's where I'm at doing things.
Yeah.
Well, what about you, Jane?
Patreon.com/StonedMonkeyRadio. As little as $1 a month, you can help me justify all the things I do, including this and a stream on Thursday nights. And also, you can find me on Humans Holler at News, is a podcast where we talk about fun little news stories or silly little news stories, very often involving animals, very very often involving bears. I do that with Alice Ice Cream Witch and Lauren Yelling NB. And yeah, that's it for me. Laura, will you sing us out, please, darling?
Until next time, be a stranger.